nation feels so alive. Summer rhythms play, we're gonna thrive. Go, 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 oh, shout it out loud. Hear the summer sun, we're a summer-loving crowd. Talking Brazil ball.
Hello there, Brazilian football fans, and welcome to Talking Brazil Ball. It's a Brazilian football podcast that keeps you up to date with everything Brasileirão and Serie A and Brazilian football as a whole. Welcome along as we review the season today. It's finished, all done in Brazil for another year, and we are here to give out awards and discuss the 2025 Brazilian season. Yes, so I am back again. James is still having some time off the podcast, but he will be back hopefully next season as we delve back into 2026 edition of the Brasileirão. But here, like I said, we are here reviewing the season, and of course, Flamengo win the double champions again. Ole, ole. Flamengo, Felipe Luis bringing the title back to Rio, and Flamengo, excuse me, and we're here to talk all about it and give out awards. I've got my team of the season, my player of the season, manager of the season, young player of the season, all to give out in this show. So remember to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up to date with all things Brazilian football. And let's get into it soon. Just a note, of course, since we last spoke, the Brazilian national team do know now who they are playing in the World Cup in Mexico, Canada, and USA. And the group is as follows. Scotland, the British team, Scotland are in there for Brazil. Morocco and Haiti as well. I think Carlo Ancelotti will be very happy with this, and I cannot see a way that Brazil wouldn't top the group, to be quite honest. Morocco are a good side. I think they got to the latter stages of the last World Cup, didn't they? But who knows how they've gone on since those 4 years have elapsed. And they're a decent side. They've got some decent players. Excuse me. Dearie me, got a little tickle in my throat somewhere there. Excuse me. So the mic went off. Anyway, yeah, I think Carlo Ancelotti will be very confident of winning that group. Like I said, Morocco they're a decent side, but I think other than that, I think Scotland and Haiti shouldn't pose much of a threat, I wouldn't have thought, and they would see themselves through to the next season. They can play England at some point in the draw, if I think at the quarterfinals, if they both get there, they are on England's side of the draw. So that would certainly be an interesting matchup. And obviously, Carlo Ancelotti has a lot to think about in terms of who he wants to take, of course, on the plane with him. There are plenty of strikers, players as a whole, giving their all for their clubs in Brazil, and they will be hoping that Mr. Ancelotti looks towards the home nation instead of players that are playing mainly in Europe, as has been the trend over the last few years anyway. But I think Ancelotti has gone on to definitely pick out some more Brazilian-based players, definitely over his tenure in charge. And there's quite a few had a really, really good season, so they've staken their claim for a seat on that plane to America and USA and Canada, and let's America, USA, and Canada. America and USA is the same country. Mexico is what I mean, of course, but they look like they're, he's got plenty to choose from, is what I'm saying, and they shouldn't have a problem getting through that group at all. So just a word on them before we delve into the awards for this, last day review. The season finished on Sunday. Very dramatic last day, to-ing and fro-ing at the bottom. We all knew Flamengo had won the title already. It was down at the bottom where the eyes were, and it was actually two of the teams that started the day in the relegation zone ended up outside it, and two teams that were looking, all right, maybe safe, they ended up going down. And of course, they were Ceará and Fortaleza, safe for another season. James is delighted. Inter managed to do enough against Bragantino to salvage something from the season and end up in Serie A instead of the second division. And of course, Vitória also got an impressive win against Sao Paulo to end the season on a high and stave off relegation for another season at least. So we're going to run down the table and how it finished first of all, and then I will delve into, like I said, my awards for the season, and that'll be that. So without further ado, let's run down the final Brasileirão table for 2025. So top of the league ended with Flamengo on 79 points, champions again. Second was Palmeiras on 76, 3 points behind. 6 points behind them on 70 points was Cruzeiro in third. A fantastic season for Mirassol, who finished fourth on 67 points. Fifth was Fluminense on 64. Sixth was Fogo on 63. 60 points, and in seventh position was Rogério Ceni's Bahia. Eighth was Sao Paulo on 51. Ninth, Grêmio on 49. 10th, RB Bragantino on 48. 11th was Galo on 48 as well. 12th, Santos on 47. 13th, Corinthians also on 47. 14th, Vasco on 45. 15th was Vitória on 45. 16th on 44 was Inter. And relegated, 17th position, Ceará on 43. 18th, Fortaleza, also on 43. 19th at Juventude on 35. And last but not least, Sport Recife on 17 points. Awful seasons for Sport Recife, ended up coming bottom of the pile by quite a way, 17 points, pathetic. But anyway, we're not here to talk too much about them. Sorry, I'm having a nightmare here with me. Colds just seem to have started, but it is that time of year, isn't it? Oh dear. So bear with me with that one. But yeah, let's try and get this done without any further casualties. But anyway, that's the table. So Libertadores was Flamengo, Palmeiras, Cruzeiro, and Mirassol, and Fluminense, of course, as well, ended up in the Lib qualification. Fogo and Bahia will go through a qualification round to get into the Libertadores, and then the Sudamericana. Sao Paulo, Grêmio, RB Bragantino, Galo, Santos, and Corinthians all in there for next season. So we'll see how they got on. Of course, Galo, beaten finalist in the end. Lanús won out, didn't they, the Sudamericana this time round. Galo will be hoping to reach a third continental final in a row. Of course, Libertadores finalists in 2024, beaten, of course, as well by Fogo that day, and beaten, of course, by Lanús, like we said, this time around. Will it be third time lucky for them? Let's wait and see. Long time to go before that, though, of course. And time to give out I'll do the awards first, and then I'll do my team of the season, which was actually very similar to the Brasileirão, the official Brasileirão team of the season. Who did it better? Let's wait and see. But see what you think in the comments below. Give me your thoughts on who was your player of the season, all the rest of it. But actually, my player of the season and manager of the season is actually similar, same as the Brasileirão as well. I didn't look at it first. I chose my own ones and then had a look at it afterwards, and it did line up quite nicely with what they'd chosen as well. So the player of the season is, a drum roll please, for Mr. Di Arraseta, who has had an absolutely storming season. Giovan Di Arraseta, fabulous season for him. 18 goals in the end, but 14 assists is absolutely incredible. 31 goal involvements in the season. It was the most out of anybody at all in the season. 32, sorry. I will learn to count one day. But yeah, 32 in all, the most in the season, and he has to have the lauded Talking Brazil Ball player of the season. I think Yuri Alberto got it last time, didn't he? I think me and James both picked, I think, but we ended up with Yuri Alberto. This time around, it's Di Arraseta. Alberto, only 10 goals this season, was in and out the goals, in and out the team for Corinthians this time around. But Di Arraseta will be going to the World Cup with Uruguay. I'm pretty sure of that. Will it be Marcelo Bielsa's Uruguay? I don't know. Bielsa is coming under some fire at the moment. They play England, of course, don't they? It was announced now that they will play England in a friendly game in the build-up to the World Cup. But Di Arraseta, fabulous season for him. It's got to be a career high. I'm pretty sure it is for him. And, you know, yeah, if you're looking at the numbers, career high, absolutely. Of course it is. The nearest he got to that was when he scored 18 goals, 13 goals in all in the Brasileirão in 2019. So absolutely amazing season for him personally and collectively. Of Flamengo won the double, of course, won the Libertadores as well, ended up with 2 trophies, and he will be absolutely down. He gets the Talking Brazil Player of the Year award for 2025. There were a few amongst the contenders. I think Kyle Jorge is unlucky to miss out. He won the Golden Boot, got 21 goals, more than anybody else. Of course, Vitor Roque as well, but he does end up with an award as well. There was 1 or 2 that could have won it, but I think you can't really look past Giovan Di Arraseta for this one, really. Absolutely standout performer, week in, week out, getting on a little bit now, 31-year-old. I'm very, very interested to see, now the season's come to an end, if he decides to depart Flamengo and go to perhaps Europe. I'm sure there'll be suitors in Europe for his signature. At 31-year-old, he's more than seasoned enough maybe to try his hand at European football. He's been, in Brazil for 10 years now, so well over 10 years. So he's not yet tried his hand in Europe, but let's wait and see if that stellar season ends in like a January move. Possibly it could do. Would set a team back around £15 million, probably, something like that. It's not too much for a top European league side. But let's wait and see. I'm sure under Bielsa's stewardship at international level as well, he's in very good hands, isn't he? Also, so now we go with so now let's look at the young player of the season, and we mentioned him already, didn't we? It's that man Vitor Roque, who has had an absolutely amazing season as well. Obviously put behind him the disappointment of not making it in Spain with Barcelona. And there's also, he had obviously a spell at Real Betis as well, but he's put that all behind him back in Brazil with Palmeiras, who had a disappointing season in the end, finishing behind, obviously finishing behind Flamengo. Only 3 points it was in the end. But, of course, lost in the Libertadores final to the very same opposition. But Vitor Roque can be absolutely delighted with his own personal performance this season. 16 goals, 3 assists, 19 goal involvements. There were 1 or 2 others that could have potentially got in there. You know, the likes of Ryan, Vasco had a very, very pleasant season as well. But, you know, Vitor Roque will take all the headlines, having had that move from Barcelona not worked out, and he's back in Brazil, back amongst the goals for the Serie A 2025 season. Again, you know, as many of these players, you know, he's only 20, is Vitor Roque, and, you know our prerequisites for this award, you know, 21 and under to win the award. So 21 and under, he fits that category, of course, and he will be one that is looking to get on the plane to the World Cup for Carlo Ancelotti. Definitely done enough for me, and I'm sure for other people as well. And let's see if Ancelotti agrees and can find space within those superstars up in the top end of the Brazilian football pitch in the national team to see Vitor Roque on the plane. But, you know, ultimately, fair play to him. He's come back from that disappointment of not making it in Spain. And, you know, and he's done well. Like I said, is it more of a shop window thing for him at Palmeiras? Again, will he be looking for a move back into Europe and prove himself again to then get a move? Maybe not to Barcelona, obviously, but maybe to, I know there's Premier League interested in him at once upon a time. Maybe that is still there potentially. Maybe he can possibly get into the Premier League. Let's wait and see. But well done to Mr. Vitor Roque, who wins our Young Player of the Year award. Now we look at the manager, and the manager is the very same as the actual official Brasileirão Awards. Had an award ceremony the other day, and this man was, of course, the chosen one to win the Manager of the Year award. It's no other than Rafael Guanais. Guanais has had an absolutely amazing season with Mirassol. We all know the story by now. Came up straight, pretty much straight from Serie C. They won Serie C in 2022, spent 2 years in Serie B, and now finish in the Libertadores places in the top division, their first ever top division campaign. And, top that if you can. I don't think you can. Interested to see how they get on in the Libertadores and how they balance that with, of course, Serie A. Now, straight off the bat, you're probably going to say they might struggle next season with the added weight of the continental competition, but they might not. And Guanais, I feel like he might move on. I don't know. Will he chance his hand and say, actually, I've done well here with the limited resources that I've got. If another higher up the rung, I mean, Mirassol finished 4th, but let's be honest, it's a very small team. If another team sacked the manager early next season, say, higher up the ladder, would he be in the conversations for this? I definitely think he would. Do I think he would travel again to Europe or other South American countries? Possibly he might move around South America. Can't see him moving into Europe anytime soon. A lot of Brazilian managers don't seem to travel as much, do they, nowadays? But Guanais, yeah, for me, all the way through. I think we obviously didn't end up doing all the way through the Manager of the Month awards. he definitely won a couple towards the start of the season. And I think if we'd have carried on doing that, he would have definitely won more as the season went on, because he was absolutely fantastic, finishing fourth with a limited budget like he had. Absolutely unreal, really. Very, very impressive. And he has to be in the conversation. Well, he had to be. I mean, the only other one was maybe Felipe Luis, of course, very inexperienced manager, but has managed to win that double for Flamengo. And of course, if you're looking at the league, obviously won the league. First time since 2020 that Flamengo have won the league. So he's brought that home. I'm not sure if he was actually playing in that squad himself. Potentially, yes, he was, wasn't he? He won that league as a player with Flamengo. Now he brings it back to Rio as a coach, as their manager. I'm pretty sure, I say Brazilian managers don't travel so much. Well, I'm pretty sure some European club has probably got their eyes on Felipe Luis, young manager, only 40 years of age, and he's won the double at the first, pretty much the first time of asking. You've got to remember, he only took over the Flamengo job full time, in October of last year. So he hasn't been in there long, only 14 months, and he's won them a double, a very historic double, which they are very much enjoying, and rightly so, in Rio with Flamengo. But yeah, I'm sure he wouldn't have escaped the attention of some top European league sides, that he is going about his business quite nicely in Brazil at this current time. Mr. Felipe Luis, congratulations to him. But Guanayas is our manager of the year. Also, just a quick mention to Cruzeiro's Leonardo Jardim, who also, has had a fantastic season. Cruzeiro finished third in the league, his first time managing in Brazil. Of course, he's had, some good experience in Europe already, with Sporting Lisbon and Braga and Olympiacos as well in Greece, and then Monaco as well. So he's had some real good European experience. But first flutter into Brazil, and he did quite well with the Cruzeiro's team, who we predicted, me and James, at the start of the season would do quite well. They spent wisely, they added some quality to the team, and they've done really well there, finished in third position. So congratulations to him, and congratulations to Cruzeiro, who will play Libertadores football next time round. And they did finish, of course, in ninth position last season. So it's a good little jump up from that their highest position for quite some time, since 2014 when they won Serie A. That is the highest. This is the highest they've finished. They have since, of course, been down to Serie B in that time as well. But third position for Jardim's Cruzeiro, he deserves a mention as well. And also, they do have a shot still of silverware. They are playing in the semi-final of the Copa do Brasil against Corinthians in a couple of days' time, as of recording, I believe. And then the final is next week on Thursday. They play either Vasco or Fluminense. Whoever wins on aggregate will face off in the Copa do Brasil final. So Jardim might still end the season with some silverware in his at the first time of asking. So he also deserves a mention for me as well. But ultimately, Guanayas is our winner. So that is all of the awards given out. And now we look at the team of the season, which, like I said, is very, very similar. I didn't look at it beforehand. I picked it off my own sort of looking at the season and how it all went for these players, but it looks very similar to the one that the official Brasileirão team came up with. So my team is as follows. It's a 4-2-3-1 formation. I know they went with a 4-4-2. I didn't, of course. But in goal is Mr. Rossi, Augustin Rossi from Flamengo. 18 clean sheets was the most out of any goalkeeper in the division. The 30-year-old Argentinian will potentially, I'm sure he I don't think he will, but potentially might be on the plane as well for Argentina to go to the World Cup. Who knows? Augustin Rossi, 3 penalties saved out of the 4 that he faced. Obviously, a pretty good return that as well. So very well done to him. Very, great season for him in the end. At left back, there was no other. Who else could you go in but Reynaldo from Mirassol? An absolutely storming season from Reynaldo. Unbelievable stuff, really, when you look at that. Unbelievable, really. 13 goals and 6 assists from left back. The 36-year-old came to Mirassol from Gremio for the season on a free transfer. And how as well. Absolutely amazing. I don't think he could foresee what was to go on, and I don't think anybody could really, but that is an absolutely amazing, season from his perspective. Obviously, his best ever scoring, best ever scoring season from left back. Fabulous, fully deserved for him, and he is our left back. The 2 centre backs are Mr. Thiago Silva, incredible playing still at the age of 41 after signing from Chelsea last summer. Fantastic, fantastic return home for Silva, and he's still playing at 41. I don't know what the contract situation is now or what will happen now, but congratulations to him still playing. He's one of the centre-backs I picked. The other one was Bruno from Cruzeiro, Brazilian international. Again, played a part in Cruzeiro's fantastic season, and I'm sure he will be on the plane for Brazil as well next summer. So he partners Silva in my team. And then right back is Pablo Henrique from Vasco, who has broken into the Brazilian national team, should I say, played his first cap in the internationals a few months ago, and he's broken into Carlo Ancelotti's side, and also we'll be looking at at furthering his caps in the World Cup as well. So he had a fantastic season. Vasco, of course, finishing in 4 teams, didn't have the best of seasons. But like I said just now, they still have a shot at silverware potentially. Should Vasco win the Copa do Brasil in a couple of weeks' time. So the 2 in the middle was Jorginho, of course, vastly experienced, won the double with Flamengo. Partnering him is Alan Patrick of Internacional. He had a massive part to play, 11 goals for him this season in the league. Big part to play, captain of Inter, who had a horrible season overall, but it finished in triumph as he did play his part in that win over Bragantino on the final day. He got one of the goals that saw them to a 3-1 win, but he would drag through Inter in this really desolate and desperate season, but it ended in triumph, like I said, and he was played a no small part in that. He was a big part of that team that eventually scathed off relegation. The front 3 then behind the lone striker, John from RB Bragantino had a fantastic season as well. Only 23-year-old, 11 goals for RB. As they finished mid-table, bang on mid-table. Didn't have the best of seasons really overall, but ended it, with a poor result against Inter, but they ended in mid-table. They very much for the strong start the season they had, which pulled them up massively. But John has attracted Premier League interest over the last couple of months, so it's interesting to see and follow his career where he goes next. It's my team, actually, Leeds United, who have been linked with or credited with interest for John, the 23-year-old Brazilian winger. On the other side to him was Ryan. Like I said, Ryan could have potentially been in with a shout of getting a Young Player of the Round, Young Player of the Year award. But he is in our Team of the Season. I mean, he had an absolute storming season in the end. Again, Premier League interest in this lad, of course, there is 14 goals, 15 goal involvements in all. 14 goals is absolutely great as a 19-year-old, still young. Obviously, vastly experienced for Vasco. He's played nearly 100 times for them. And like I said, he's only still not yet 20. So he had a great season. He deserves his place on that right side. In the middle, spoken already about Di Arraseta. You couldn't really leave him out. Although a lot of critics may say, oh, Neymar. But no, Neymar was a bit part player for Santos in the end. And Di Arraseta, you cannot look past him, and no other than who else to lead my team of the season but Caio Jorge, with 21 goals for Cruzeiro. Fabulous season, still only 23, a young player, really broke out onto the scene this season already, has European pedigree in Italy, hasn't he, and played a short few games for Juventus, and amongst one or two others in Italy as well. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw him lining up in Europe next season or January potentially as well. Obviously, want his involvement. He broke in as well to the Brazilian national side as well, didn't he? As the season went on as well. So he will be looking to break the lines and get into, of course, Carlo Ancelotti's Brazilian side. Already one cap, so let's wait and see. But there's so much talent in those areas in Brazil. It's very, very difficult to break in to the national side, isn't it? If you're playing striker, but you'd have thought maybe that's done enough for Caio Jorge to get himself moved back into Europe. Let's wait and see on that one. But overall, absolutely fantastic season. Always love covering it. Hopefully as next season rolls in, we'll be doing the, look at the promoted sides. There's some interesting promoted sides coming up, of course. One bounced straight back up, Atletico Piara back in Serie A. One interesting one to have a look at. 2 straight promotions is Remo. So we'll be looking at them as the season nears and all the rest of it. So thank you for, sticking with us throughout the season. I know we had a little break. We are back now. I'll try and do some previews as in the lead up to the new season in the new year, of course. But thank you very much for sticking with us in this season. Merry Christmas when it comes. Enjoy it, and I hope you've enjoyed the season 2025 Brasileirão. See you next time.
Sway to the beat, make you feel so right. Summer vibes, we're dancing in the heat. Go, go, go. Can't be beat, up in Brazil, go spreading love in every way.